One of the things I want you to notice here about this parable is two of the three people knew their Lord. They knew the way that He operated. The one with one talent didn't know Him. He said, I know you to be a hard man, and I know that you reap where you don't sow, and you get stuff where you hadn't scattered seed. And the last person did not have a good relationship. Do you know of people like that? Do you know of people that think that God is hard and mean and judgmental and legalistic? Yes. There are denominations that are founded on it. That's the center of the way they believe. You just step out of line right there, and God will smite you, and God will slap you so hard Google can't find you. Yeah. God's just waiting for you to mess up. So, something happens to... I love this one. We have different expressions of that are a little milder. One would be, well, you know why that happened to him, don't you? The Lord's doing that as punishment to him. I want to share something. Can I just share something here with you for a moment? The time of judgment on the earth is not here. We are not in the time, the age, whatever, of judgment. We are in the time of grace. God is not pouring judgment out on the earth. Hurricanes and tornadoes don't come against cities because it's the wrath and judgment of God against that particular wicked city. Well, He did it to Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was not during this age, during this dispensation. Now then, is there judgment in the earth? Yes. But if you want to see what the judgment of God is like, look in the book of Revelation at the tribulation period that's on this earth. That is what the judgment of God looks like on this earth, and it is not pretty. Now, I know you may think, well, things are going bad now. Listen, they can get a lot worse than what they are right now, and will get a lot worse than what they are right now. But where judgment comes today is this. There are things that God has decreed as bad, as wicked, as sin. And those things have attached to them judgment. So if you partake of that particular thing, then you partake of the judgment that is on it. God's not out to get you. He's not trying to do... It's not you mess up and then He does something against you. It's you're the one that made the decision. And the Bible refers to the list that one of the lists I'm talking about is the works of the flesh. If you abide by, if you partake of the works of the flesh, then that judgment comes on you. That fruit comes on you. And just a few verses down are the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, and it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. But when you partake of lust of the flesh, when you take of things of the flesh, there is judgment that attaches to that. And so when a person does that, they're the ones that bring that on themselves. It's not God raining judgment down on them. Do you understand? There is a difference in those two. There is a time that those things will be punished, and God will turn His wrath loose on the earth. And like you imagine what things are now. You experience, or you look at what's happened in the economy. You look at what's happened in the pandemic. You look at things like that, and you think, man, things are really bad. It's nothing compared to what will happen during the tribulation period. It's going to be a horrible, horrible time on the earth. That is a time of judgment that is being poured out on the earth. So this particular person did not know their Lord. There are people today, and I'm talking about Christians. I'm talking about people that profess Jesus that don't know Him. They get saved. They have an experience, but then they don't learn. They don't understand. They don't go to the Word and learn the way that He operates, learn His nature. Listen, one of the things, remember Jesus said this to us in the Gospels. He said, the things that I do are the things that I see my Father do. And the things that I say are the things that I hear my Father say. So, would it be accurate? I don't think this is too far of a stretch. Do you think that it would be accurate to say that Jesus revealed to us the nature of the Father? That we can look at Jesus and look at Jesus' ministry and see the nature of God? Yes. Now, you have to understand that was quite a contrast to the way that the religious people believed of the day. Do you ever find somebody that comes to Jesus and He tells them, rejoice in your suffering, for the Father is teaching you great things through suffering? Not one time. Not one. So, just from the example that we find from Jesus, to say that God causes or allows suffering to come on you to teach you is a far stretch. I mean, you have to come up with that on your own. That is not in the gospel account when Jesus reveals to us the nature of the Father. Whenever somebody came to Jesus for healing in the 4 Gospels, did Jesus ever turn someone down and say, you know, there is something that you need to learn through this affliction? The Father has placed this on you so that it will be your way to go through life and glorify Him. The only place you can believe something like that is in church. Somebody with half a brain understands that's not right. But yet we teach that. We don't. So here Jesus specifically, perfectly reveals to us the Father, and there are people that still refuse to see it. So are there people today in the church that are like this person that got the 1 talent? Oh yeah. There's a bunch of them. His kinfolk are still around today. They still think God's mean. The first 2 understood, I know what to do with this. I know the granddaddy of all parables. When I get something from God, the thing you do with it is you sow. You get something from God and you sow it. Now then, again, was this their special talent to sing? This was what? Money. The parable of the talents is about money. Now, does it apply? Does it have deeper meaning? Oh yes, and we'll get into that if we have time, and I sure hope that we do.